Thank you for joining me on TMI Tuesday, and as we x-ray our national prosperity and how to really get there in respect of fighting hard to make sure that we are able to look at viable objectives that will help harness our resources the right way. There has been various arguments over the model of our system of government not working, or over the colonial empire of the British being done or founded in lies and deceit, and also the aspect of corruption really digging deep as a major reason for which we are having issues trying to grapple with the problems that we are faced with. But well, as we go close to our 59th year of independence come October 1, there are issues that we must discuss in order to find a lasting solution to the problems that we have been dealt with. And discussing this vital topic with me, starting from my extreme left, I have a public affairs analyst, Francis Owaifo. Francis Owaifo is also a clergyman. Good to have you join me.
Thanks for having me.
And next, I have the General Overseer, Senior Pastor of Rest and Blessed Glorious Assembly. He's no one else but Omogbe Egwage. Thanks for coming.
Thank you very much. God bless
A
you.
pleasure meeting you.
Thank you very
Now,
much.
let's start with you, Francis Owaifo. Now, we've had successive governments that have tried to find a lasting solution to the problems bedeviling the country in order to get it right and set things right for the welfare of Nigeria. But they seem not getting it. What do you see as an initiative that will make us to evolve to a point where we can say, yes, Nigeria is getting it right?
Yeah, thank you very much. I want to say, as you rightly said in your intro, Nigeria will be 59 years this year. It shows that at 59, we have come of age. And you find out that there were a lot has happened to Nigeria in these 59 years. We have a lot of many years of military rule that actually hindered the nation from its progress and its progression. And now we've had about 20 years of uninterrupted civilian rule in Nigeria. And in these years, we've had leaders that has come in with one agenda or the other to transform the nation. But I found out that the various leaders that have come in, they've not really had a concrete plan on how to devolve, because when we look at Nigeria, it's really a diverse nation of different cultures, different people, different tongues, and different languages. But I found out that they not study the technicalities of Nigeria to really know when and how to make Nigeria prosperous. Because when you find out that our founding fathers, Tafawa Balewa and Co., they had plans. They had plans to develop the various regions of this country. You find out that in the northern region, you had their solid minerals, and the southern region, the eastern region, the south-south, you had a lot. But in this present country, in this dispensation we are, you find that our leaders, they have not really been able to think deeper on what to do with the natural resources Nigeria has. Because not just oil is not the natural resources Nigeria has. We've got a lot of natural resources that are untapped, that other nations are used to better their lot in their own countries. But we have them here, deposited in our land, in our soil for free. Ours is just to locate these natural resources and also harness them and use them for the betterment. And again, we have human resources. Yes, that is our plus, human resources. You can't have a Nigerian any part of this world without a vision. Nigerians are very progressive and are very entrepreneurship. Not only those from the East, our brothers, but every Nigeria, given Nigeria is sent, he will bring out something better from it for you. But you find out that our government has not been able to psych the Nigerian per se,
okay,
to be able to give a good foundation for Nigerians to enhance the God-given talent that they have in them.
You made mention of successive governments not having the concrete plan to bring about a better Nigeria. But some believe that outside the concrete plan, there is this systemic failure that is also a huge setback. I want you to talk in that line.
Certainly, certainly. A very huge failure in the sense that we've not been able to differentiate politics from real governance. The difference between politics and governance. We've had failures in successive government that has come in. They had plans. I said plans have not been an issue with Nigerian polity, but how to make these plans to work for Nigeria.
Okay, but
Yes.
but can we also say that the foundation set by the British Empire, looking at the colonial role, was also in a deceit that brought us to where we are?
No, I don't see any deceit. They left a very vibrant economy for Nigeria. They left a very vibrant political conglomeration for Nigeria. You find out that when Nigeria was amalgamated by Lord Gard, you find out that there is something he saw, that coming together as a nation, we can pull a string from become one of the superpower of this world.
Yeah.
We don't have issue. The colonial masters saw a lot about this country. When I read a book recently about Lord Lugard, he said he found out that Nigeria had deposits of a lot of natural resources that, when properly harnessed by the government that they handed over to, Nigeria would have been one of the most superior powers you have in the world today. But you found out that governance, they came with a different agenda because they found out that Nigeria was so rich and looting and corruption became the order of the day.
Yeah, but if we look at the appetite of the British colonial masters, and we look at the resources, you spoke about resources, land resources, material resources, rich in oil, gas, and all that, you know, gold, and all that. Now, by coming, they set up a government that seems to be far away from our primordial kind of government. What do you make of that? Because the white man's government seems to be far away from the way our traditional governments were. Isn't that also another leakage where we are having it wrong?
Well, I want to know that Nigeria was not the only country that was colonized by the British. We had other countries like Ghana, so many other countries in Africa. The same mode of governance that they left in other countries were the same way they came to govern us.
So you mean to say that they are getting it right more than we are?
Certainly they're getting it right. That's why I said I don't know the issues with Nigeria, because we have the traditional way of governance. The traditional ruler became the prime minister, and you have other little government, and they rule from that set and use the people for other purposes. But they came with a broad-based idea, universal governance, whereby you have elected representatives from those in the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary, which is a universal form of government and mode of government in the world.
But don't forget that we also have a gigantic population
It doesn't
in
matter.
Africa
Nigeria
that makes
is
us the most populous black nation in Africa.
Yes.
And we having heterogeneous backgrounds, we have different languages, cultures, tribes.
Yes, that would have been a plus if we have set our priorities right. The more population you have, the more diverse culture you have, the more people you have, the more it's even easier to have every sector of the country, developed. Because you find out that they actually came with a mindset to leave wealth for the nation. That's why they were able to discover a lot of discoveries they had in the various regions. You find out that you have the Granite Pyramid in the north, you have farming, substantive farming was going on in the south. So I said, after they left the shores of this country, we found out that I don't want to go to the school of thought. People say we are not ready for governance. No, we are ready for governance. Our forefathers, when you look at how they started on a very right sound footing. It was subsequent government and a lot of military caution that came in after our founding fathers that got their priorities wrong. They saw the wealth of this nation. They swept on the wealth of this nation. They started doing a lot of things they ought not to have done. They did not look at infrastructural development of the nation. They did not look at building structures that will last a legacy. What they did, they were so myopic, and they were building stronger men instead of stronger institutions. That's why today you find that 59 years after independence, you have more stronger men in this nation, very strong and powerful men, rather than powerful and strong institutions that will last a decade, that can build employment, that can give a lasting a base for the teeming youth in form of employment for the youth to find a base. We don't have that.
Okay. You said 59, but we are yet 2 o'clock 59. All right, but well, it's usually so when you are just having a few days or weeks to the 59th celebration of our independence. Back to you, Gwage. Now, we have different arguments over why we are where we are. Some say the major problem we have is corruption. But some school of thought and scholars believe that corruption is even endemic, even in the American system of government. In the American soil, corruption is there, but they are able to manage it, and it's not affecting their institutions. What do you think are really the basic issues we have outside corruption? Or do you think that's the major problem we have here?
Thank you very much, Philip. Everybody has different school of thought. It's very sad that at this age in time, we are still referring to corruption as a major problem of Nigeria. I don't belong to the school of thought that corruption is the problem of Nigeria. What we have as a major problem in this country is all about issues in governance. If we can tackle the manner of governance in this country, I believe the issue of corruption will be a thing of the past. Now, a blessed memory of us.
Can corruption be a thing of the past?
It can.
Because
it can be reduced to the barest minimum.
Even in American college admission, reports showed that in the American college admission that there were some persons who were corrupting the system of that college by bringing in those who are less qualified but rich kids into the school, and they were caught. But despite that aspect, the educational system in America is still peerless on earth.
Yes.
So, which means they are able, the corruption they have there is working for them.
That is what I'm saying.
But ours seems to be destroying us.
Yes, the issue is this. If proper management are put in place, I tell you, my brother, the issue of corruption will not be a threat to Nigeria economy or whatever system we're operating. Okay. Now, if you look at America, the reason why you see they are thriving with corruption and they are doing well in spite of the issue of corruption is because the governance, the issue of policies that are there, they are working effectively for the populace. So if Nigeria can take that as an example.
Because they are at home with the system of government.
That's it.
They are at home with the practice.
They are relaxed. They are relaxed with the system of government. So if Nigeria can put that as an issue and place it to governmental principles, you discover that corruption will not be a problem in Nigeria. So the reason why we are emphasizing on corruption because the system is not working. If the system are working, we will less refer to corruption. We will less talk about corruption. Now the reason America is not talking about corruption, you look at the educational system, look at the political system, look at the business sector. They are doing well. So if things are working, my beloved, if things are working, Mr. Philip, you discover that people will hardly talk about corruption. We should not be emphasizing corruption. We have good Nigerians, good citizens that are ready to work. We have good Nigerians that are ready to do one or two things in this country. That was the mind. We are emphasizing on corruption. Is that we are contributing to the menace that is happening in this country.
That was in the mind of the President Muhammadu Buhari, even while he contested thrice, and then the fourth time he won the election, and he brought about his fight against insecurity and fight against corruption. Corruption in particular, that capsule, he took it as having a passion for that, to make sure that corruption is killed in Nigeria. No. He made it clear that if we fail to kill corruption, corruption will kill us.
Thank you very much.
Now, let's look at the fight that President Buhari has put into play.
He has spoken so well.
Do you see it as producing the right results?
He has spoken so well.
Yeah.
I told them in church recently that, you see, they were putting a ban on sniper. Snipers should be banned. And the problem is not sniper. People drinking snapper because the circles around them is obvious. So before you put a ban to sniper, you should be able to tackle some of the things that make people to drink snapper. That's the issue. Now, what happened is this. Now, we are talking about, we're talking about our youth are not working. Things are not working in Nigeria. If we, the governors or the people in government cannot create employment for the populace, they should be able to create an empowerment. If there's no employment, there should be empowerment.
Is it the basic responsibility of the government to create employment, or create an enabling environment?
No, the government should create employment. The populace should create an enabling environment. That's it. It's not the government that creates an enabling, it's we that create an enabling environment.
Do you define that?
That's it.
Yeah, I define it because I believe that the populace create the employment. No, but government is to give the enabling environment.
Okay.
How do they do it? They strengthen the financial institutions to be able to grant access to loans to small-scale farmers and study small-scale traders and farmers, and also to be able to emphasize on technical education. Understand? Because if the government does not drive technical education, you find out that we'll keep remaining like this as a nation. How do you do that? You fund, it's a deliberate policy, not the one they just say on paper. They do a whole seminars and they just say we are looking at polytechnic school, we are looking at technical education. It must be a deliberate effort from government, whereby you make sure that the country is advancing towards technology.
Okay, but is it far-fetched from what the present government is doing? Is it far-fetched?
Well, the government is talking, but I've not really seen concrete evidence. That's what I'm saying, because it's not different from what successive government has been doing. They just speak on television, they host seminars. You see, they say just do it on camera. It's not on camera. You should be able to see it yourself. Seeing it happening in every nook and crannies of the state. In the various states.
Won't it be wrong if you say this? Because even the budget, as we have it, the amount that is spent on infrastructural development in area of education, and then the aspect of raising an agrarian economy, which the present government has lauded itself on it.
You just said that. You just said lauded itself. The difference between you have a budget for a purpose and the purpose being actualized. That's the truth. Because to me, I have not only seen a deliberate effort from this present government in turning the tide of where we've been as a nation.
Was there a government that even turned the tides?
That's why I said this government came with it.
Isn't this a common challenge?
It has been.
Facing successive governments.
It has been. But we must change and live and take and have a different mind view about government. If Nigeria is to leave the woods that we are, they look at all over the nation, a Nigerian man lives here, or a medical doctor lives here, and goes abroad and becomes the best medical doctor. We don't have problems with the Nigerian person. It is the system. And for you to be able to make system work, you must look at investment in structures, particularly education and technical know-how. I studied China and I studied Indonesia, those two nations, very well. I found out that before they become what they were today or what they are today, they invested in education, not just education, technical education. Because whether you like it or not, technology rules the world and drives the world. The world is moving towards an IT world. And you can't work in a bank if you don't have an IT compliance system. You can't work in a company right now, a drilling company. You can't work even in agriculture.
Yeah, you mean ICT?
ICT rules the world. Yeah. And how many ICT centers has the government established in this nation? How many? You have youth, and the NYC is supposed to be the best avenue to start this process. You don't allow them graduate. You see that you have about 3 streams every year, and they come out from there, they run the street with their CV, no job. You don't need to, government don't need to create ministries. No. You fund ICTs. Bring in experts from nations. And what do? You organize these youth and train them in information technology, electronics. You train them in whatever. But let them have technical know-how. And what do? You empower them. You see, Nigerians are very entrepreneurial. You empower them. When you empower them, you find out that they will not have the mindset of a civil service mindset. Everybody wants to establish something, and when a man establishes anything, he needs a secretary, he needs a partner, he needs staffs, he needs a driver, he needs marketers. And what are you doing? You are creating employment. The government didn't create employment. He gave the enabling environment. He trained people, and they were able to create such employment.
Is this not part of the N-Power project you're just talking about, which the present government is also feeding on? I want you to comment on that, the social intervention programs that the present government of Buhari is really looking at. Don't you see that as a viable way to take us out of the woods, like he said, Francis Owaifo?
Yeah, I just made the point, but I would like you to know that if the government are bringing out plans and policies, how far or how well are they monitoring the projects they are issuing
to see how
they are working? That's the problem with the government. So if they are going out with these plans, it's very, very good. But how much care? How much cognizance are they taking to make sure these plans are working?
If you talk about that recently, where some persons who were enlisted in the N-Power project were dismissed as a result of not paying attention to their duties, rather just coming, writing their names in the attendance, and then going elsewhere to do other things. Now, if the government wasn't monitoring, that loophole wouldn't have been noticed.
That is, those people were not lucky enough. That's why they were caught. I'm telling you the truth. If if you can go into the system properly, you discover that there are so many loopholes that you can still discover.
Okay.
I'm not satisfied with the monitoring scheme of projects that's been issued in this country. If the government is going to have it done, have its way, these projects must be properly monitored if we are going to have a headway in our development in the society. So by and large, I want to let you know that if we are going to tackle the issue of poverty in Africa, I want to let the government know its empowerment is the key. If there's no empowerment, there's no way poverty will be a thing on the past in Africa. Or more than 1% of every three persons in Nigeria and in Africa, they are living below poverty line. A total of 422 million people in Africa.
Okay.
They are living below poverty line.
Okay.
So if we, as a nation, can tackle our ideology from that angle, I believe poverty will reduce in Africa. Okay. And
you are a clergyman.
Yes.
You are a general overseer of Rest and Blessed Glorious Assembly.
Yes.
Now, we often see Nigeria as a country that has much Christians in number, and we have proliferation of churches everywhere. And do you see our problem as having a spiritual undertone that can be taken off by fasting and praying?
This question looks funny. Now, if you go to foreign countries, it's only in Africa here we do fasting and prayer much. We need to, our mindset need to work very well. It's not about fasting and prayer or spirituality. It's all about mindset.
So what you're saying is that it does not have any spiritual undertone.
If there is any spiritual undertone, it must be, it's not up to 50%.
Because we talk about,
it's not about 70, about 30,
many believe that Africa is the home of witchcraft.
Yes.
And being that as it is, Nigeria being the most populous black nation, could also be having much of this witchcraft. So don't you think that is also a setback?
Mr. Philip, let's just, if we can do a practical relocation, let's bring all the Americans in America. They should come and stay here for 10 years. Let's take all Africans to America. Let them live there for 10 years and see the difference. It's not all about witches and wizards. It's all about the black power we are having here. No, okay. It's all about our mindset. There's nothing about black power if you know the level of integrity that God has given to you, the level of spirituality that God has given to you. So if we operate in that capacity, I don't see any witches and wizards that will disrupt the economy or whatever system we are operating in Nigeria.
Okay. Thank you. In case you're just joining me, it's TMI Tuesday, and I've been having a chat with Francis Owaifo, a pastor, and also with Egwagi Omogbe, also a pastor, on the aspect of bringing national prosperity, looking at the governance, how to bring about various objectives in governance to produce that national prosperity that we really desire to get to the point where we all aspire to get to. And just recently, we have it on reports where the federal government is getting ready to evacuate some Nigerians from South Africa over the xenophobic attacks on them in South Africa. Let's look at this, the economic implications of this, because we have much persons who left the shores of this country for a greener pasture in South Africa. And now these attacks is making them to come in trickles back to Nigeria. Is the government ready for this?
Well, I believe they are ready for it, because you know that if they had the enabling environment, they would have migrated to South Africa. Look at Libya today. We brought in over 20 or thereabout plane load of people from Libya. And today, the insecurity in town.
They came in thousands.
Tripled insecurity here and there. So I believe that these same guys that come in, they should be able to look for a system that can absorb them.
When you say the insecurity in town has tripled, are you in any way saying that it was as a result of the Libya returnees?
Well, I didn't say that. I'm looking at when you don't create the enabling environment for these guys to dwell. They have a thriving business abroad. They make money abroad. They have family they feed abroad. They cater for their aged abroad through the money they make abroad. And you are bringing them here to do what? Most of them sold their properties and sold their homes to travel abroad. They don't, some of them will have a place to lay their head when they come back. Some don't have any livelihood. What can give them money to buy akara, the money, the next money. So what do you expect them to do when they come? They must survive. A man does only eat for 2 days. The man, they say an angry man, a hungry man is an angry man.
But watch it, get it. But watch it, get it. These are people who are coming voluntarily. The federal government is not putting a knife on their tongue to come back.
It's because of xenophobia.
You see,
so let's get that right.
There are a lot of videos we see where a lot have been shot. This didn't start yesterday, not because of that.
They've not volunteered before this time.
For the past 10 years.
Yes.
2008.
2008, yes.
10 years ago. A lot, we say the last count, about 124 Nigerians have been killed.
As reported?
As reported by the foreign media, not Nigerian media. So it means that if these ones remain, because they are jobless, they don't have education, they don't have infrastructure. They said they are foot soldiers, that they are going to kill this, they call them guaraguaras. Guaraguaras coming from other parts of Africa to take over their jobs. That is their mindset. So it means that the best thing is to come down to this country, and the government has a role to play in settling these guys. And that brings me back to what I was talking about just now. Yeah. Empowering them in ICT. Give them education, give them orientation, train them on how to do these things. And after training them, don't allow them just go. Instruct through the Bank of Industries,
which is viable enough to tackle this.
Give them soft loans, and if possible, give them a land.
When you say give them soft loans, don't you think we also have a challenge in this aspect of giving loans? Because you are starting a business that you are having prospects over, but you are trying to test the business. You are trying to test the policies of the environment. Are these loans not supposed to have like interest-free for a period of months or 1 year interest-free?
Yes. That's why I said Bank of Industry, not commercial banks.
Okay, because commercial banks will basically
they are commercial. They
erode that. Yeah.
This is Bank of Industries. If possible, make it interest-free, payable back in long-term payments.
But how many can access that?
No.
How many can access that? Don't forget, we have this bottleneck system. Bureau pathologists.
Good. That's why I said these particular problems we have, this problem we are facing now, this Ataka returnees,
yes,
is a problem that must be tackled
head on.
A specialized fund and a specialized system must be created, not the way it was, because it's an urgent, it's an emergency.
It's an emergency.
So what do they do? Government should not even go through whatever bank or CBN. Money should be gotten directly from a specialized fund from anywhere, going from SS fund, from whatever, given to the Bank of Industry to manage. And with the strict instructions that as these boys are returned and as they are trained, we have their biodatas, we have their biometrics, we have their everything they have, give them, if it's 500K each.
Don't forget, we also have some teeming unemployed youths in Nigeria that are also facing this even worse situations. I hope you are going to capture them in that bracket.
A step of 1,000 miles starts with a foot.
Yes.
Let's start with this. For example, this one, returnees will just, after they have 2 or 3 trips, that one is over from South Africa. They will look at the other aspects, the unemployed youths. Do same for Christ's sake.
Within the limited resources we have as a nation.
We have resources.
Don't forget that.
Resources that are being taken away from this country by corrupt leaders. Whether we like it or not, there is corruption in this country.
And don't forget, we have about $9.6 billion that has been threatened to be taken away in our national assets by an Irish firm.
That is another thing. I'm looking at tackling insecurity and tackling employment.
Yes.
So what you're able to handle, you see, a society that gives employment to its teeming population will not have threat of insecurity. What brings insecurity in the nation is when there is no job for the teeming youth. Youth, they are vibrant. Their body is hot. They want to do something with their energy.
Agile.
And when there is nothing government has put on ground to empower them, they take to the gun. They take to social vices. They take to drugs. And you find out that when government is proactive and you capture them and said, you see, the truth is that I was watching your station just now. I saw on the news item, I saw a seminar, people carrying placards and say that education for all, a laudable idea. But it shouldn't stop at street marching and creating awareness. It must go beyond just awareness into concrete action by government and all the relevant agencies. They must, you see, when you don't do this as a legacy, you find out that even when they leave, their lives are threatened. That's why you find out that when a governor leaves the seat or wherever they are, they leave the position, they just travel abroad because they have not created the environment for things to work in this country. Employment and creating infrastructure, usually educational infrastructures, building schools, and empowering the teeming youth.
Thank you.
When you do this, you have solved 50% of the Nigerian problem.
All right, thank you. Well, you are on this morning on ITV, and we are looking at repositioning governance and towards national prosperity. Well, we're not done talking yet. We're not done discussing this. We'll take a short break, and after that, we'll extend the frontiers of this discussion. Stay tuned.
TMI, every opinion counts.
Thank you. Repositioning governance towards national prosperity. Let's look at the role of the church, Egwage. Now, it's believed that politics is everywhere and that the endemic nature of corruption is also in churches. Now, what is the church doing in respect of bringing about repositioning governance? Because most times we hear where politicians or some politicians who load the treasury and come and submit the money at the altar, and then they are being prayed for and they are being blessed by supposedly man of God.
Yes.
Don't you think that is also encouraging corruption? How do we put an end to this?
We've answered this question in our subsequent program.
In our previous program?
Previous program. So you see, in the church, we teach the best to our knowledge, teach the Bible as it is, nothing added, nothing subtracted. Now, if a member, peradventure, comes with a huge money, you should be able to find out where the money is coming from.
The pastor should find out?
The pastor should find out, yeah. You cannot just imagine a small boy coming with so great money and say, Pastor, I give you this one as a gift. You should be able to find out. Because
but don't you think that is far-fetched? Because if you say the pastor should find out.
Yes.
Take, for instance, in a Sunday service where a bundle is being dropped in the offering box. How will the pastor find out?
No, if you don't know the person that dropped it, it belongs to the church. Honestly. Maybe everybody comes in, they are dropping whatever they are dropping. It belongs to the church. Whatever comes to the altar belongs to the altar. Peradventure, that's why you have to have a close relationship with your members. Your members, you need to know them to their root, where they come from and what they are doing. Now, by the time a member of yours is coming with such magnitude or big amount of money,
yes,
you should go to ask.
I was in a church. I was in a church where one pastor said that if you are to take a good example between two Christians, one Christian comes to church every day, but is not able to donate to the church, while the other Christian doesn't come to church every time, but he misses Sunday services, but he's able to impact financially the church. And he asked a question: who do you think is a better Christian? A lot of persons felt, well, the one who comes to church every day, that attends service, that cleans the church building and premises. They all say, yes, that's the person that is the proper Christian. But to our greatest surprise, the supposed man of God said, is that man who doesn't come every day, but sends huge donations to the church. Now, with this mindset, with this impression on the minds of the members, don't you think that is a way of even promoting corruption?
That's an aberration. It's an error. For you to tell your members that bring money to the church, they are more serious than those that don't come to church. These are preaching every day. I used to tell them, they are listening to me now. You see, members should not look at the area of finance. Maybe they don't have money to bring to the church
Yes.
and say, we are not coming to church, is a very big error. Whether you have or you don't have, you must come to church and serve your God. I think in Matthew, that poor widow that dropped the mite in the offering box, Jesus saw her and said, look, this woman has given the best because she was giving from her heart. It's not just the amount you are dropping in the church that matters. It's the quality service you are rendering to God that God counts on. Okay. So if you are going to drop big money and you are not ready to follow the principles of Christianity, God is not looking at that. So we may be looking outward, but God look at inside.
Okay, I said that to say this because we have proliferation of churches in Nigeria, and good enough, you happen to be a clergyman. Again, still on the aspect of politics that has crept into the churches. We keep seeing people or supposed men of God, you know, selling holy water, selling seeds that will bring about fertility and all that. Is that right? Isn't that a challenge that is also eating deep into the fabric of our nationhood?
Well, holiness is something when you study the Word of God, you find out that you don't need anybody to deceive you what is expected of you as a child of God. The doctrine is very clear how God wants us to behave as children of God. When you hear the Word of God alone, His Word, when you hear His Word on a daily basis, there's a way the Word of God transform your life and your conduct. That brings to the question you asked him. You see, when somebody that steals is in a church, the pastor don't know whether he's a thief or whatever. But when the undiluted Word of God, the right Word of God comes from the pulpit to that person on a daily basis, undiluted, you don't change the Word. The Word has a way of hitting you, touching you, and know that you are doing the wrong thing. You are in the wrong job.
Yes, but
the right job.
Yeah, but my point of discourse is on the men of God supposedly who preach money, that seems to capture the minds of these young ones, you know, and by the time they become politicians, they go about, you know, stealing from the national treasury. And so I'm trying to say, what should be the role of these preachers? What should be the role of the clergy?
Our role as clergy is to preach righteousness and salvation. There's no other thing added to it. Jesus Christ said, he made himself known to us. We are to make him known to the world. You receive him, that is righteousness, and you go out and impart the life. Tell people about Jesus. So whether people are preaching, whether they are preaching what's it called, giving here, giving there. To me, I want to say they should de-emphasize giving. When the Word of God touches somebody, like just as I mentioned the woman in John, the woman had just that left, that penny. Jesus Christ saw that. So it is that what people just require from men of God or churches is to give them righteousness. Teach righteousness. And every other thing, you don't need to tell me to pay my tithes if I know who Jesus was or Jesus is. You don't need to tell me to give an offering on Sunday if you are giving me the right dose of message I need to hear. Okay. So not preaching salvation, not preaching what's it called now? Prosperity in the expense of righteousness.
Okay, thank you. I just said that so that we can also have some flesh on the clergy aspects to this in terms of repositioning government. Okay, but that has been overtaken by events. Now, as we round off, Egwage, in a minute, let's look at the role of the National Assembly in repositioning governance for national prosperity, because recently there have been reports over the plan of the National Assembly to procure SUVs with about 5.5 billion naira, which they are going to put into foreign economy at the detriment of the local vehicle economy of Nigeria. What do you make of that move?
It's very sad that most often that we send these people there, the people we send there to go and represent us, when they get there, they are now having stress on their personal issues. So what we should be talking about now that when these people are there, you should be talking about how the people, the welfare of the populace, how they are faring.
Representative matters.
Yes, matters. So when they got there, they are talking about the cars, the SUV they are buying. It simply means that they are not having people at heart.
That's misplaced priorities.
That's it.
Okay.
So what we are going to be doing is that, what the population should be doing is that they should, by all means, try their own possible means to make sure that they are representative. The people is sent to the Senate or the House of Reps, they should get in contact with them in a close note so that they should not go astray.
Okay. I want to comment on that because just recently we have this aspect of the attention that the lawmakers should be focusing on, which has to do with seeking a bill establishing the Automotive Act that will boost investors to have in the manufacturing industry to have their plants here. Now, recently, the Toyota Motors Company, for instance, chose Ghana over Nigeria to have their plants there. Now, let's look at this and the role of the National Assembly in this.
See, if they must go for foreign vehicles, which I don't have a problem with it, whatever company they are going to patronize, they tell the company, one of the criteria to buy your services, come and establish your plant in Nigeria.
Yes.
For Christ's sake, there's nothing wrong with made Nigerian vehicles. We must start with ours. Recently, government banned foreign goods or agricultural services into Nigeria. Then I believe that automobile must take the lead in Nigeria because when you drive a vehicle made in Nigeria, it doesn't dignify, it doesn't make you less a human being. So rather it's going to create employment in Nigeria, going to boost the economy and going to make the GDP of this country to rise. So I believe that whoever has mooted ideas to buy foreign vehicles from outside should just the idea and look inwards and do the right thing.
Thank you, Francis Wifo, and of course, Egwagi Omogbe for coming. Well, this will call it a wrap on the discussion.